Well, good morning again. Pastor Joe asked me to preach. He went on vacation this week to celebrate his anniversary, and he said, "Hey, David, will you do that?" And I was like, "Absolutely. I would love to come talk to y'all today." It's actually unique today. I'm in two places at once. Pastor David, the other David, he woke up very sick from camp, and so he's actually doing a sermon that I did in kids' church a year ago and filmed for COVID. So they're actually I'm preaching over in kids' church and in here all at the same time. It's just the wonders of technology, isn't it? It's just great. But you know, as technology has progressed, so has our language. Our language has changed as well. We're always adding new words or taking away words. And so I thought it would be fun for us to think about some of these new words that have been added to our language. How many of you watch TV or talk to your children or grandchildren and you have no idea what they're talking about? And it's like, I have none of those words. So what I did is I thought I'd give us a little quiz today. Little quiz, I hope you studied. A little quiz on some words. These are words that you know, but they have different definitions. And so we're going to see how well you may be able to identify the new definition. Now, all of these definitions, I didn't get this off of Urban Dictionary. Be careful when you go there. There's some nasty things. But I got these from Merriam-Webster. These are new words that were added to our dictionary this year. Are you ready for this? All right. So here's the first one. Hard pass. Hard pass. Is it A, to pass another vehicle on the highway on the right-hand side? Is it B, a firm refusal or rejection of something? Or is it C, to complete a difficult throw in a sporting event such as American football? B is correct. If you said B, you were correct. You're smart people in here. All right, here we go. Here's the next one. Flex. Flex. All right, we all know this word. You're like, okay, so here we go. Is it A, to tighten a muscle? Is it B, to bend something? Or is it C, to brag or show off? How many of y'all think A? B? Anybody think C? C is the new one. It's actually all of the above. You're right, Megan. It is all of the above. But C is the new one, to brag or show off. As in, like, I knew all these definitions before I ever picked these out. I'm flexing right now. That's what that is. All right? Okay, here's the next one. Long hauler. Long hauler. All right. So is it A, driver who must drive a long way, such as a trucker or something like that? Is it B, a person who experiences one or more long-term effects following initial improvement or recovery from a serious illness? Or is it C, a type of train that travels cross-country? Which one do you think it is? A, B, or C? B. It is B, a long hauler. If you got long-haul COVID, you are a long hauler. Okay, here's the next one. Pod. Is it A, usually small group of people who regularly interact closely with one another, but with few or no others in order to minimize exposure and reduce the transmission of infectious disease during an outbreak or a contagious disease? Or is it B? That was all one definition. It's very long. Or is that B, a capsule or container for vegetables, such as a pea pod? Or is it C, a social group of whales? Which one is the new definition? A, yeah. So like you would have like COVID pods, like people is like, hey, they're in my pod, they're in my group, like your family is like, we're all together and we're not interacting with other people so we can all be social and not have to worry about coronavirus. And then one person gets in, they all get it, and they're all mad and ostracize the other one. Okay, so here's the last one. It's not even a word. It's a symbol. At. Okay, well, that we say at, but it's circle A. Here we go. Here's the definitions. Is this symbol an informal way of responding to the claim of someone, a claim or opinion of someone? Is it B, a circle with an A with a circle around it? Is it C, a symbol meaning at, usually used in email or social media? I'm hearing disputes. All right, who thinks it's A? Who thinks it's C? Anybody think it's B? Who has no idea? The correct answer is C. No, I'm sorry. No, the correct answer is A. The correct answer is A. It's an informal way of responding to a claim and opinion. Like, I came up with all these words. You can't do nothing about it. Don't at me. That's what it is. Like, you don't tag me on Twitter and be like, I can't believe Pastor David threw all those young words at me. I know you're all atting people at Twitter all the time, aren't you? That's what you're doing. Yeah. That's where that phrase came from. I heard Kelly Ripa say it on Generation Gap just this week. So it's not obscure. But see, as language changes, we do this all the time. We add definitions. We add new words. I really wanted to put hot goss into this one, which means it's fresh gossip. But that is like, what's the hot goss? But I wanted to be genuine, so I didn't want to say, because I'm not one of those people that would say hot goss. Because that would be weird, wouldn't it? It would just, anyway. So, but as we say these words and these things, sometimes as we're adding new words, there are other words that fall out of use. And even definitions are lost. And we're actually seeing this a lot happen with our Christian language. The words that, I'm not even talking like Christianese, like we're going to have faith and fellowship. Like, yeah, we are. Or like, we're talking about like words that are like central to our faith. Those words are being lost in the definition because people don't hear that word, because people are becoming more and more secularized. There's a new Gallup poll that just came out. I'm going to get this number wrong, but it was something like 43% of the people don't even claim they don't even believe in the God of the Bible at all. And so as we start to talk to people and we talk to people about God and what we believe, we can say things to them and we can feel like we are communicating with them. But as we're saying those words, they are not understanding what we're saying because they don't know what those words mean. And even then, if you grow up in church like I did, there are some times where people just say stuff and you're like, yeah. And they just keep saying it over and over again. And you're just like, yeah. And you're like trying to pick up from context clues, but you don't know what they're talking about. And you're like, I think I know. Maybe. And so the word that I want to focus on today, it's probably bouncing around in your head because Debbie did a wonderful job putting together the song selection. She put this word in every song we sang today. And the word is grace. Grace. Now, when you talk about grace, a lot of times when I would talk to kids about grace, I was like, no, that's not the girl who sits in your class. Because a lot of kids, the only time, if they never grew up in church, or if they're not like watching like princes and princesses, they're never going to hear the word grace as when we say grace in church or we say grace about God, they don't know what it means. They just think it's a fun name for a girl. And so what we want to do is we want to look at a couple of the definitions of grace. And it's not necessarily the word grace's fault because grace has like 7 definitions. Okay, there's a lot of different ways we use this word. And so one of the ways we use it is grace. It's a simple elegance or refinement of movement. Oh, she moves with such grace. If you're talking about a ballerina or a dancer, look at the grace of how they moved about. The second one is a period officially allowed for a payment of a sum due or for compliance with a law condition, especially an extended period granted as a special favor. So like they've just put in a new law and now there's a grace period. Like I just heard of a law in New Zealand. They're going to start taxing cow burps for global warming. And so there's a 2-year grace period before they start taxing them because if they feed the cows different food, they don't burp as much. So that's a great, there's another word for grace, which means something completely different than ballerina grace. And we're not going to talk about global warming and bovine burps as much as I want to. We're not going to. And the third definition, and this is the one we're going to camp on today. This is the definition that when we say grace, when we sing about God's grace, God's grace that covered all my sin. This is the definition that we're talking about. It's the grace is the free and unmerited favor of God as manifested in the salvation of sinners and bestowal of blessings. We're not going to do all that definition. We're just going to focus on that one first statement. The free and unmerited favor of God. It's free. as in we don't have to do anything to get it. We just have to claim it. We just have to say it. Like you go up to the cash register and it's buy one, get one free. And so here's one, here's the other. You didn't do anything. It's just there. It's free. It's just offered to all of us. We just have to accept it, because a lot of people think that we have to earn our salvation, that we have to do certain things, that we have to get right with God before he ever accepts us. And sometimes we treat other people this way too. We treat them like, well, you gotta get all this stuff up before you're accepted. But that's not what grace means. Grace is free. We have to be, it's given to us freely. You don't have to be a good person to be accepted into God's family. Now, we do want people to clean up their lives. We want them to stop sinning. We want them to have all those bad habits. But that's after the salvation point. And that's another big word that has really lost its definition, is sanctification. Anybody ever heard that word before? Sanctification? That's a big word. We're going to talk about that later, but not today, another time. Sanctification, but basically here's what it means. It means the process of becoming more like Christ. And so as we have that relationship with Jesus, we become more like him and we stop sinning, because Jesus never sinned. And as we become more like him, we stop sinning. So grace is free. We don't have to do anything to get it. It's just given to us. Everybody taking a deep breath. That's God's grace, because God gave you oxygen to breathe. It doesn't matter if you're a sinner or a saint. We all have that grace. It's free. And there's also the grace that comes with Christ for what he did for us. The next part, it is the unmerited favor of God. There's so many times in our Christian life that we feel like that we have to earn God's favor. We have to do the right things. We have to serve the right people. We have to say the right things, and then we'll have God's favor. I grew up in church, and there was a lot of times where it wasn't anyone's fault, but you would think like, oh no, I told a little white lie, and now God is just, he's like staring down at me, and he's just ready to just like, he's got a little lightning bolt in his finger, and just, how dare you? And I was like, but that's not God. God has this unmerited favor. I have the favor of God. You have the favor of God upon you and upon your life. If you have God's favor, that means like he's for you. Like he's not against you. He's not sitting up in his throne room like Zeus ready to zap you with lightning bolts every time you do something wrong. He's for you. And it breaks his heart when you do something wrong, because like he wants you to be better. He wants you to serve him. He wants you to have that right relationship with him, and it breaks his heart. He doesn't get angry, he gets sad. Just like when your kids would disobey you, yeah, it would be frustrating in the moment, but also it would be disappointing. Like, I thought you would do better. And so God's favor, his unmerited favor, is given to us. We see this when Paul says this. He talks about this in Romans, his letter to the Romans in chapter 3, verses 22 through 24. I'm going to put it up on the screen. It says, the righteousness, that's because of grace, we are declared righteous. So the righteousness is given through faith in Jesus Christ to all who believe. To all who believe. If we believe in Jesus, we are declared righteous. And there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from or the color of your skin or anything. It doesn't matter. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. We've all memorized that verse. And all are justified freely. We are justified freely by his grace. How? By the redemption, through the redemption that came through Jesus Christ. Because of what Jesus did for us, it's free and unmerited. And even as I'm talking to you now and I'm looking at your faces and I'm thinking about, wait, shouldn't there be more to this? Shouldn't I have to do more? Shouldn't I have to like this is a huge gift. And don't I have to I don't know, come to church or something? It's free and unmerited favor of God. Once we choose to follow God, once we choose to accept what Jesus did for us on the cross, it's there. It's for all of us. We have all of this because of what he gave us. Jesus took the punishment so that we can have that free and unmerited favor of God. So what does this look like in our lives? If we have grace for us, or if we are going to extend grace to others, what does that look like? So I thought about, well, how can we put feet on this? And I found a story of Jesus, of how he actually worked out his grace. So if you have your Bibles, you can open to John chapter 4. That's where we're going to spend most of the day today, is in John chapter 4. We're going to start off in verse 1. And we're just going to kind of work our way through about half of this chapter. And we're going to see how Jesus used grace to change a person's life forever. So here we are in verse 4. John chapter 4, verse 1. If you're not there yet, we're going to put it up there on the screen. It says, "Now Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard that he was gaining and baptizing more disciples than John." This is early in Jesus' ministry. He's just been baptized by John the Baptist. He's still hanging out by the Jordan, and he's starting to gain followers. Verse 2, "Although, in fact, it was not Jesus who baptized, but his disciples. So he left Judea and went once more to Galilee." So he was getting a lot of pressure. It was getting a little too hot. It wasn't ready for him because it's still early in his ministry. And so he decides to leave. Verse 4, "Now he had to go through Samaria." Now the reason why the author wrote, "Now he had to go through Samaria," is that this was important. This was important. It was not inconsequential that he went through to Samaria, because people don't go through Samaria. The way the Jews looked at the Samaritans is that they looked at them as half-breeds. They looked at them as unclean and unholy. And so what happened is the Jews of that day were very racist, especially towards the Samaritans. And so what they would do is they would actually walk around Samaria. Samaria was right in the middle of Israel, and they would walk around it, adding days onto their trip. It's like if you were going to leave here and go to Gatlinburg, the way we would do it is we just hop on 75, we go straight through Atlanta, and then we're up there. But let's say that like Atlanta is full of all this stuff that we don't want to have anything to do with. We don't like those Atlantans, and we're not going to have anything to do with those Atlantans. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop on 280. We're going to drive all the way to Montgomery, and we're going to go on 65. And then we're going to drive up 65 all the way to Birmingham, hop on I-20, then take I-20, and then right before we get to Atlanta, we hit that 285, and we kind of zip, and we just kind of bypass Atlanta and head up to Gatlinburg. Why would you do that? You've added hours onto your trip. But this is what the Jews of the time would do. And so Jesus is walking into Samaria, and the disciples are freaking out. Like, you don't go here, Jesus. Why are we here? What are we doing here? But they're following Jesus. So we're going to pick this up. Back again. Verse 4. "So Jesus, he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, and near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. And Jacob's well was there, and Jesus was tired as he was from the journey, and so he sat down by the well, and it was about noon." So you've been walking all morning, and now it's noontime. You hadn't had any water. You find the well. It's your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's well. It's like, hey, let's take some shade. And this is where the story gets good. "When a Samaritan woman," verse 7, "when a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, 'Will you give me a drink?' Verse 8, his disciples had gone into the town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, 'You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink?' For Jews do not associate with Samaritans. This is in parentheses. This is not the woman. This is John, the writer, saying Jews don't associate with Samaritans. He's trying to give context here. Like, this is why this woman is upset. Why would a Jewish man talk to a Samaritan woman? A Jew wouldn't be caught dead in their territory, and here he is talking to one. And here we have Jesus not talking to any Samaritan, but he's talking to a woman. Women in Bible times were treated as second-class citizens. Women did not talk to men, and men did not talk to women. They did that thing that I find so offensive is like the husband and his wife is there, and then the guy talking to him doesn't even address the woman. They just talk to the husband. And then even when they want to communicate something to the wife, they tell it to the husband for him to communicate to her. She's right there. Just talk to her. But like, that was normal. So this would already be scandalous if he was talking to a woman, but now he's talking to a Samaritan woman. This had probably never happened in her entire life. It had probably never happened to anyone that she knew. It just wasn't done. You don't talk to those people. Verse 10. Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." Okay, how many times do y'all read the Gospels and Jesus says something, you're like, what? I mean, that was her. She was living water? Like, Jesus is asking her for water, and she's like, who are you asking me for water? And now it's like, hey, I got living water. It's like, dude, you're just a guy hanging out by a well. Like, you got a bag. What? You don't have any, what? I said, like, she had to be thinking a couple things. One, this guy must be insane. Two, I wouldn't ask this guy for anything because he's just a man and he's a Jew. Three, what is living water? And if he does have it, where is it? Because like, we don't walk around with little water bottles. In Bible times, they walk around with jars, like cisterns, like gigantic things. And they just take a cup out of it. That's why she says in verse 11, "Sir," the woman said, "you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep." It's not like you just like went skydiving into the well and just like head first, like, water, yes. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank it for himself, as did also his sons and his livestock? I think that's a reasonable question. Like, where'd you come from? Where did this get from? Verse 13, Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I will give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." So for whatever reason that's happening in this exchange, it's hard to pick out emotion that's going on because this is written 2,000 years ago, but somehow this woman has decided that Jesus is not crazy. That's good. And then she started thinking, if even he has just one little sliver of truth to this, eternal life, never thirst again, that would change everything for her. And so she says to him in verse 15, the woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water." Now let's just look at this woman just for a moment. Let's take a break here and let's look at this woman for a moment. There's a couple details that's easy to miss because we don't understand the culture of the day. But it says that she was alone and it was noon. Alone and it was noon. So if it was noon, if she was alone, this was normally a communal thing. This was something every woman did in the town. They all go together because this is the time to share the hot goss. Set you up there, didn't I? This is when they go. And they don't go in the middle of the day. I watch all these people cutting their grass at noon. I'm like, what are you doing? It's bright at 7. Just go ahead and cut then. Why are you doing that? I worked lawn service 2 summers. I can tell you 1 to 2 o'clock is like, let's go to lunch, guys. It's hot. Let's get some air conditioning. It's like, so she's there at noon and she's there alone. Why? Why is she there? Alone in the middle of the day. Verse 16, Jesus says, "Go, call your husband and come back." And then she says in verse 17, "I have no husband," she replied. And Jesus said to her, "You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you have had 5 husbands, and the man you have now is not your husband. What you have said is just quite true." See, now we have the truth. This is why she's alone, and at noon, she's the town floozy. I had to look that word up. I was like, I can't use the other word because we're in church. Like when she would go with all the other women, she's getting the side eye. When she walks up, all the other women are talking, and then she walks up, and then they get quiet. After there she is. And she walks away and like, "Girl, you know, she's with another man." She's like, "What?" And you know, nobody wants to walk into that. Nobody wants to be around when you know everyone is talking about you behind your back. Nobody wants to be around those people that hate you just because of the life circumstances that you've had. We don't know the choices that have made. We don't know this much about this woman except that she had 5 husbands and now she's living with a man that's not. But whatever the circumstances that would happen there, she doesn't want to be around the other women. Probably because of the way they treat her. And so now let's go back and let's look at who Jesus is talking to. This is a Samaritan woman. A Samaritan woman who's unfaithful and an adulterer. She is a sinner. This is someone, a rabbi, a teacher of God's word, a prophet, should have nothing to do with. This was the Pharisees' biggest problem with Jesus. He's hanging out with people like this woman. But Jesus knows all of this, and he's still talking to her. This is grace. Now, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm more like the Pharisees here. Sometimes I'm driving down the road and I see that person on the side of the road and I just take one quick look at them and I know everything about them. I make that snap judgment and I'm like, And then sometimes if I'm really like feeling sinful, I'll be like, I start judging them and like, man, they should have been better choices. Look at them. You ever do that? You just look at someone and you think you know all about their life story just by one look at them? And you just write them off? But that's not the way Jesus looks at people. Jesus looks at them and says, that's a child of God. I love that person. I died for that person. This is what grace looks like. See, God knows everything. And we know that God knows that because Jesus showed it in this very verse, because he called her out. He called her out for knowing everything about her. And if God knows everything, that means he knows everything that's happened. He knows everything that's happened in your past, in your present, and in your future. God knows everything. God knew you would sin. He knew about your hurt and who you would hurt and what pain you would cause other people. He knew about your worst moments, the moments that you don't want to tell anyone about. God knew about them. And he died for you anyway. He died for you. That's grace. That's the free and unmerited favor of God. We feel like we have to earn it. Jesus died for us before we were ever born. because he loves you. Now, this woman is confronted with the truth. Now, look at this next question. It says, verse 19, "Sir," the woman said, "I can see that you are a prophet. Our ancestors worshipped on this mountain, but you Jews claim that their place must be worshipped is in Jerusalem." What in the world? She's just confronted with the truth, and now she's getting into a theological debate. Anybody ever try to sidestep something? You get hit with the truth, and it's like, well, anyway. Asking them questions. Thankfully, Jesus is patient with her. He says, "Woman," never call a woman woman, just woman. Doesn't go well. Jesus replied, "Believe me, a time is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. You Samaritans worship what you do not know, and we worship what we do know, for salvation is from the Jews. Yet a time is coming and has now come when the true worshipers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in the truth. They are the kind of worshipers that the Father seeks. God is Spirit, and his worshipers must worship in the Spirit and in the truth." Now, my choir teacher, the worship pastor in my church, he would always say that, "Let's worship the Lord in spirit and in truth." And I'd be like, that was one of those words that like spirit and truth, are like, yeah, let's do that. You know what he's talking about? No? Okay. Spirit and truth, let's do it. But spirit is capitalized in this verse. Spirit is we're going to worship with our spirits. We're going to worship with the spirit that's within us and the truth of God's grace, the truth of what God has done for us. And so when we come in here, there are some times where we come in here and we don't want to be here. We're just here because this is what we do on Sunday mornings. We just sing the songs because that's what you do. You give in the offering because that's what you do. You listen to me talk and you just laugh and just love it because that's what you do. Yeah, thank you, Barb. This is Pastor Joe because that's what you do. But that's not worshiping God in spirit and in truth. Worshiping God in spirit and truth is like you're coming in here, you're coming into church because this is a time for all of us to get together and all of us to think about and talk about what God has done for us. We come in here and we sing these songs because what these songs do is they give us words to our feelings. I'm not poetic. I can't write poems. I hate poems. When we got into English class and we're doing poetry, it's like, oh God, here comes the C. I'm not going to do well. I hated it. But music gives us voice to our emotion. And so when we worship God, it brings us joy. It brings us tears of happiness. It expresses our pain. It expresses our hurt. So when we worship God in spirit and in truth, we feel that. We're here because we want to be, because out of thankfulness, what God has done for us. Verse 25. We're going to skip down a little bit. We're almost done. The woman said, "I know that the Messiah is called Christ. He's coming. When he comes, he will explain everything to us." Then Jesus declared, "I, the one speaking to you, I am he." This is the first time that we know of that Jesus proclaimed that he was the Christ, that he was the Savior. He was the one to save everyone. And what did she do? Did she take that and hold that inside? No. Because it says in verse 28, then leaving her water jar, she left the whole thing, reason why she came out there. She came out there with that water jar and she's leaving it. She left the water jar and the woman went back into the town and she told the people. She said, "Come, see a man who told me everything I ever did. Could this be the Messiah?" So they came out of the town and they made their way towards him. She told everyone that she knew. She told her past 5 husbands. She told all those women that were gossiping about her. She told her friends. She told her family. She told everybody. Look at what Jesus has done. Look at this grace. Look at what he has done for us. And once we capture this grace in our hearts, we can't help but share it. And sometimes, the longer you get saved, the more you lose that feeling. Do you remember that time you got saved, or was that so long ago that you don't remember? It's okay. I don't really remember. I was like 5. I mean, I remember that moment, but I don't remember the feelings with it. But I can tell you, if you have ever led someone to Christ, there's nothing quite like it. I'll tell you this last story. When I was in Master's Commission, I started serving in children's ministry. The youth pastor kept begging me to come, and so I was like, okay, fine. I'll go serving kids. I didn't want to do kids. I wanted to do something else. So I go do kids, and I'm in there, and I make all the kids laugh. And all of a sudden, I'm the star of the show. I'm the center of attention. And I'm going to tell you, I love that. So I'm there, and I'm having a great time, and about 6 months in, that feeling of an excitement and that endorphin rush of being the center of attention starts to wane down. Starts to not feel anymore, and the children's pastor, he'd come in that time, and it was about time for us to choose if we wanted to stay in kids or if we wanted to go somewhere else. And he asked me, David, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I don't really get excited about serving in kids anymore. I might stay, but it looks like you have things under control. I don't think you need me anymore. So I just kept praying about it. A few weeks later, the children's pastor gives a salvation message, and he invites the kids to come forward to the front area, what we call the altar, but it's really just like this. It's just the front area of the room. He invites them to come forward, and because I'm a worker in there, I'm a Master's Commission student, I have to serve on the altar, so I'm up there, and this boy comes up to me. Now, he's not just some boy. This boy is a kid that I have invested my life in over the last several years. I've been to his house. We played video games together. We'd gone fishing. I knew him, and he knew me. And he comes up to me, and he says, I'm ready to accept Christ. And I led him in the sinner's prayer. And he turned around, and his life was forever changed. But what he didn't know is that so was mine. Because all of a sudden, in that moment, I realized it's not about being the center of attention. It's not about being fun. It's about that little boy and his relationship with Jesus. And so I can tell you, ministry is hard. And this walk with Christ is hard. And we've gone through some tough stuff together. And every time I start to question, should I be doing this? I think about that boy. He's a boat captain now. He's married. I think about him. And the way his face looked when he realized what Jesus had done for him. Now, I want that for you. I want that for that because you don't have to be a pastor. I wasn't a pastor. I was just a college student. I want that for you. I want you to lead someone to Christ too. You have people in your life right now that don't know Jesus. And if you don't know anybody right now that don't know Jesus, then expand your circle. Might be your next door neighbor, it might be the person across the street, it might be the person who works with you, might be the cashier at the Kroger. Someone you know doesn't know Jesus. And if you extend God's grace to them, you just talk to them, you forget about all the other garbage that you may have prejudged them about, and you just share them the love of Jesus. You never know where it's going to lead. Now, you might not be able to lead them to Christ right then and there, but if you build that relationship, it might come. I'm going to invite the worship team to come up. Some of the band has already been here. I appreciate it. And so what I'm going to do here for the rest of you is I want you to think about, I want to give you a choice. It's like, am I going to step forward? Am I going to answer the call that Jesus gave to us to spread the gospel, to make disciples? So you can stay right there in your seat, or you can come forward. Because we say come down to the altar, but there's really nothing special about down here versus where you are. Except for one thing. It's a sign. It's a sign to God. It's a sign to everybody else in this room, and it's a sign to yourself that I'm going to take that step forward. I'm going to say, I will follow God. I will share God's grace with everyone around me. I will tell people about what Jesus has done for them. So everybody stand with me. The worship team is going to sing a song. And then right before they sing, I'm going to invite you to come down. And we're going to pray together. And we're going to pray that God opens up the doors, opens up our eyes to what it is. So if you're ready, you come on down. Come on down and let's pray. And let's tell God, God, I'm ready to tell people about Jesus. I'm ready to tell people about what he's done.